everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. You are now listening to GregTalkz. So, my name is Greg. I am 19. I'm a biomedical engineering major, and I'm currently in community college. I hope everybody is doing well today. You guys will be hearing this on Saturday, so I do hope you guys are having a good weekend wherever you are. And like I said last week, I told you guys that I was going to tell you more about the podcast, the scheduling, and what to expect. So I'm going to get into that right now. So, why did I start this podcast? Good question. So, I started this podcast because I wanted to connect more with you guys as my audience, and I wanted to have a place where I could just kind of vent about the things that are on my mind at the time, because I do find this very therapeutic to do, as well as a lot of other people. But for me, I think it's just a good avenue for me to just get out what's on my head. And some of you also may know that I had on my YouTube channel, which used to be called Retro Glass Visuals. I know that's like a really long name. I'm glad I changed it and went on to something new. But anyway, I made a whole bunch of videos talking mainly on anime, and I made some videos on music, and I think 2 videos on cartoons. And the purpose of that was to essentially be an anime analytics / review channel, talking about different anime, different cartoons, and different music that I didn't think a lot of people had known about. Or if you did know about it, I wanted it to be a place where people who didn't know about those shows could find out about them. And over time, I felt like it was extremely scripted, and it just wasn't really me. And so I decided to put the kibosh on that and to start a podcast where it would just be me talking to you guys like having a normal conversation, essentially. And that's really what birthed the podcast. You can also check out my podcast on Spotify, anchor.fm, which is ANCHOR.fm, or on YouTube. On YouTube, it'll be posted every Saturday, and on Anchor.fm and Spotify, it will be posted a few days early if you want to hear me early. Just wanted to let you guys know that I'll be just putting that out there throughout next week, so you guys know where to find it. So with that, I'm just going to go into like a few things that I found interesting this past week. First thing I'm going to talk about is the Alvin Ailey dance theater. And let me tell you guys, like, this dance theater was amazing. I mean, the performances in them were like really something else. I posted on Snap. Some of you guys may know I put some songs that I really did enjoy. And yeah, it was just really good. I saw it this past St. Patrick's Day. It was the 60th anniversary of this showing, so that was great. Also to see that this show that has basically been an avenue for a diverse group of people to come and enjoy dance theater, and also to express art that speaks on the condition of minority groups here in America. Really something special. I do have to say that. And my favorite showings from this were the song / performance Stack Up, the song / performance of Juba, the performance actually and instrumentation of Shelter, and the performance and instrumentation of Revelations, Rock of My Soul. Great song from Revelations. You need to go listen to it. It's super good. But Stack Up was like a performance that was paying homage to 70s dance and disco and funk music, which I'm a extremely big fan of dance, funk, all that stuff though. There's something about that music. It always makes you want to dance though, and you have to appreciate that because I can't say a lot for a lot of music comes out today. Like it doesn't always want to make me dance. And at the same time, it does make me feel a lot of music today makes me feel more depressed than happy a lot of the time. But then again, though, people like listening to things that speak on uh those negative types of things because they can relate to them. So I do get that, but at the same time, it's not like positive. I'm not hearing like a lot of positive music, which I think is a problem because there always needs to be a balance. It can't be all negative. It needs to be some positive in there. But uh, speaking of positive logic, but we're gonna get into that later. Other show was Juba. Juba kind of reminded me of like the Twilight Zone with like its unsettling kind of vibe. Um, it had like violins playing in the background though that they were playing the violins as if they were electric guitars, but that sound that created was like this eerie kind of suspense, something you hear in like horror movies. But at the same time, like you can't get a grasp of the music because like it's so kind of weird how it's structured. But that just like creates like that tone that you want though for the type of performance that Juba is and was. The dancers like were doing like moves that kind of reminded me of like a witch or a summoning. Like they were doing a ritual to summon something. Though. That's what I got from it. But that performance was really good. Um, dancers did a great job on that too, and I think that dance was like, well, all the dances were really exhausting though. But that one, they were jumping up in the air. They were doing like all types of moves with that and doing some body contortionism here and there, which was really good. Um, next performance was Shelter. Don't have a lot to say on Shelter. Um, it was good. I mean, it spoke on the condition of African Americans and poverty here in America. Um, that's about it with that. I mean, it was powerful. Uh, if you see that show when they come perform, like you'll like it, but it's pretty you'll get the message. It's not really much for interpretation there. Um, there is something like, I mean, it was also paying homage to African culture and dance as well, but other than that, it wasn't really that much there for that. And then um, the last performance was Revelations. Same thing with Revelations. It's not that that performance was bad. It just happened to be my least favorite in terms of music. Um, and I mean, yeah, I don't really have a lot to say on that one though. It just didn't hit me like Stack Up or Juba did, and it's not even a bad performance. I just don't think I felt anything from it, or I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't really know how to feel about that. I think if I see it again, I'll have a different opinion on it. But that's just how I feel about it. Um, now getting into like the deep question, or one of the deep questions I kind of wrote down here. Where does the desire to love come from? This is a hard question, but the reason I wanted to put it down was because I was thinking about it and I wanted to talk about it. So that's basically it. And this just came on my mind though, because like I'm seeing like so many relationships, essentially though, where popping up, especially like right now. Um, and I don't know, it just got me thinking like what makes people want to depend on other people. Because like you get talked to like this message of like you need to love yourself, and you can love yourself while being in relationship with another person, but at the same time, I just find that interesting though. How at the end of the day though, like some people still need to have like another person to confide into. Um, even though I don't really feel like you can, there is no person on the planet I feel like you can confide in the best when it comes to your own problems, except for yourself. Despite how much that person um loves you. And don't get me wrong, this is just my opinion. Don't get mad at me for this though. This is just what I think. Some of you may though, but we can have a conversation about it like in next week's podcast. But this is just what I think. So not trying to get at anybody with this. But anyway, yeah, I just don't know like where that comes from, because like I think it's more important to be able to, depend on yourself to get like what you need to get done in your own life, rather than like having somebody else there though, because like most oftentimes though they might not have everything together themselves though, and then when you come into the picture it's like you're adding a lot of um things and extra stress to them, and they kind of have to try to balance it out. And that's cool. Some people are very good at that though, but I don't think a lot of people, especially like younger people, I mean, I don't think we're as good at it though, because we haven't been through as much. Um, you know, okay, now let me scratch that. There are some young people that have been through like a heck of a lot though, but I don't know. Um, if you guys want to like talk more about this one though, like l- let me know. Um, and then I'll talk more about it though. I just wanted to bring it up kind of like as a food for thought kind of thing though, because I found it quite interesting. Um, but anyway, getting into Logic that I did mention before, peace, love, and positivity. I'm so glad that like Logic is kind of back in his bag again. So he recently put out a song called I Wrote This in Blood. And the song was essentially like talking about the industry and himself, and as well as other rappers, and saying like, you wonder why so many rappers are like getting high and getting on drugs and dying from drugs or committing suicide. It's because like you don't know what's going on in their head, and they feel like they have to hide it from us, because if they show that, we're not going to really like them anymore. um or I don't know if it's like if we're not going to like them anymore, it's just that I don't know, we might not take as much of a liking to them because we see them put on this facade, and then to see like what's really going on, a lot of people won't be as conducive to them, and they don't want to like show that side of themselves, which is a shame, because like, I mentioned like people like to see like the vulnerable side of yourself. I think people appreciate though you speaking out about your problems though, but a lot of guys, more so guys than girls, like especially feel really scared to do that, and that should not be the case. And he was speaking on the self, like focus on loving yourself. And that's kind of where that earlier question did come from. Like loving yourself, like above everything else, is what's going to get you to where you want to be in life. Because if you're not able to do that right now, like it's just not going to, it's going to be very hard, like for you to like get anywhere without feeling like a sense of self-loathing or depression though. Because it's going to happen. Like you're going to have hard times. And if you're not comfortable with yourself on the inside, everything on the outside is going to get on the inside, and it's going to like tear you up. So focus on loving yourself is like the key. And he talks about this in the song, and I think it's really great though. I think like he's really like underrated, I feel like, kind of as an artist though, because I was one of those people that were skeptics of like his more experimental kinds of music that he's been putting out in the last few years. And I guess like I kind of do appreciate though the diversity with Logic now, because there aren't there aren't a lot of rappers that are um like going out of their lane to try to make different kinds of music and appeal to different types of people though, because they're afraid if they experiment though, like their core fan base is not going to like it. But Logic like talks about like if the core fan base really didn't like what I was doing, then they wouldn't come and listen to my more experimental stuff. I mean, if they didn't really like it, they wouldn't play it, but they still play it. So in essence, they still like what I'm doing, which makes a lot of sense though, because I'm a skeptic, but I'm still going to listen to his music, so I'm still going to be a fan, like But I mean, that just is what it is though. But he's coming back with this album though. It's kind of like, I think, going to have elements of like Under Pressure and Tits, which is the incredible true story. Um, which that album was also really great too, but that was when he was starting to get into the more experimental stuff. But it's gonna have elements more so from Under Pressure though, which is the album that made me a fan of Logic in the first place. So I think that's really great that he's actually starting to become more introspective and reflective again. Um, and it's funny though I'm saying this though because I know like he's working on like he's gonna have another album, which I'm hoping this is his seventh album, and it's gonna be like the Ultra 85 album, and I'm super excited for that because he's been talking about that for years. But I think like I kind of want that to be his magnum opus. Like I want that to be his best project, like ever though, because you know it, it's an interesting title though, and it's gonna like it gives off a Frank Ocean kind of vibe, but it's like with kind of like science fiction and all this other stuff kind of added into it though. Like I can't wait for that album to come out, but this album he's putting out right now, which is I think um what was it called? I'm gonna look it up really quick. I think it's Confessions something. Yeah, Confessions of a Dark Mind, which is going to be a sixth studio album. Um, I am still looking forward to that though, so be on the lookout for that, like in the next month. um, Another thing though, I started watching this YouTube channel called Spirit Science, and Spirit Science pretty much just talks about spirit science, essentially, male versus female energy, the golden ratio, um, the angel numbers, which is a video I haven't watched yet. Astral projection, channeling other people's energy through your own. Really cool channel, very educational in a lot of ways though, but the only preface is you do have to believe in that stuff in order for you to become to wake up, essentially. But I'm on my journey, spiritual journey right now with that though, and I'm just kind of in my basic learning stage though, and I'm really interested to see like what I get. The further I get into it though, I'm interested to see like if it's going to get me like closer to that golden thing called ascension. And I know like that's a far thing off because people who achieve ascension like have been through like all types of trials and tribulations and have truly like ascended to the higher plane of existence. But like I said, I'm just starting out. I am really fascinated with the whole concept of channeling and astral projection. I haven't figured out how to do it though, but I am going to do that at a certain point because God knows I want to experience what flight is like though. And that's looking like the only way for me to experience it though. Of course, there's going to be deeper meanings. Of course, there's going to be other things tied to it, but I want to be able to do that though. Like, I just think that's cool. And then channeling, that's awesome to have like another spirit, like literally talk through you though. That sounds really cool. Um, and good spirits, of course, not like demons or whatever though, because that's bad. Um, but anyway, I would implore you guys to check it out if you're into spirit science or spirituality. And you don't have to be like a Christian or religious to get into this stuff. But yeah, I would definitely check it out if you're interested. Um, yeah, those are really all the things I wanted to talk about this week, though, because those are the things I found like pretty interesting. I'll be bringing up things like spirit science and like music and all that stuff kind of here and there throughout the next few weeks because I feel like we're going to be getting like a lot of new things in terms of like anime, music, and movies, of course. Uh, Stranger Things 3, if you haven't seen the trailer for that, like go check it out if you're a Stranger Things fan because it looks freaking awesome. And I will be binging that when it comes out and talking about the whole season. And I'll let you guys know, like, I will be talking about it as well as Avengers Endgame. But those are conversations for another week, at another time, at another day. So with that, I will see you guys next week. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'm out.